The last couple of months have shown us that we can go back into lockdown at any time, and along with it, our conferences. While presenting online isn't new, its frequency has definitely increased since 2020. This is a huge advantage for conferences and means people from a more diverse range of backgrounds can participate. Unfortunately, it also means no more free conference wine and pastries. There are two ways to present online: pre-prepared videos and live-streamed videos. There are advantages and disadvantages to both. Pre-prepared videos allow you to prepare ahead of time and edit out disasters. Unfortunately, it also allows you to stress out ahead of time and spending too much time editing out every live stream videos allow you to react much quicker to things that are happening, but also mean that something goes wrong, you're reacting live. You'll also need to decide how you're going to record your video. The easiest way is record with inbuilt software on your device or Zoom. I'm using Zoom today.
You can also record on your cell phone, like you're preparing for the 3-minute thesis competition. Check out my blog post on Thesislink on producing videos using your cell phone. You can use as much or as little technology as you want here.
I have here a small little phone clip that I use that I got off a selfie stick. My phone just slides in there, and I've got a little tripod that came with my gimbal, and the two just connect together. And then I have this Rode wireless microphone that just with a little Velcro dot sticks on the front, and there we go. And this is what works for me. You find what works best for you. Regardless of whether your presentation is pre-recorded or presented live, you need to take note of the specifications of the conference organizers. There may be limits on the use of logos, the number of slides, aspect ratio to be used, length, bitrate, resolution, file format, and file size. Check through the specifications listed and design your presentation with these in mind. Now, when presenting, don't be afraid to use your mouse or pointing controller. This can allow you to focus attention on the things you're talking about. So when you present online, the audience miss out on a lot of information. They get less of your body language and gestures particularly, so they're going to struggle to maintain attention the same way as they would in person. Now, using animations in PowerPoint can be a great way to reveal points as you're ready to discuss them, but like when you present in person, use them sparingly. You don't want the audience sitting there bored while your animations run amok on the screen, but nor for them to end up with motion sickness either. You can appear inside a box, which is the default for Zoom, Teams, and many other of the other sharing platforms, or inside your presentation by sharing your slides as a virtual background as I am here. Just don't be talking head for too long with no other visuals, because remember the audience are missing a lot of keys and will struggle to keep up. Also remember that your video will obscure part of the slides when you create them, so make sure that you aren't covering up part of that slide. If you're presenting with dual monitors, make sure that your notes, slides, or the audience, whatever you're going to face during your presentation, are on that monitor. Focus somewhere near the camera. That way you'll be facing the audience. Oh, wait, you're over here. So be prepared for things to go wrong. Practice your presentation ahead of time and think about the camera. Know where your camera is. Know how to set it up correctly. What things are in the background behind you? If you're choosing a virtual background, select one that is appropriate for your venue. As humorous as it is for the team video chat to have you on a beach with a pina colada, for most conferences, it may not go down well. Consider also if you have a virtual background, if you move around a lot, you will blur and go fuzzy around the edges, which could be distracting for your audience.
What microphone are you using? Check that it works and you know how it works ahead of time. If you're using the inbuilt microphone on a laptop, for example, remember that there's a reasonable distance between you and the microphone, so speak up and speak clearly.
If you're using a microphone headset or headphones, remember the microphone is only centimeters from your mouth, and you really don't need to speak up or project as much as you would at an in-person conference. Avoid, if you can, speaking too close to the microphone, as it can cause popping and sibilance. These are the P's and B's and the F's and the S's you dread at every conference. If pre-recording, be aware of ambient noises like street noise and pause the recording if you have to, rather than struggle on through. Also, be careful of the placement of your microphone to speakers, as that can cause feedback. You may need to mute your speakers or put on headphones while presenting. Your slides should fill the screen and take focus. If using PowerPoint, use slideshow mode rather than scroll through the document. If you're using animations in PowerPoint to reveal content within the slides, you need to be in slideshow mode for the animations to work. During Q&A, you may want to quickly jump to specific slides in PowerPoint. Hit the escape to escape slideshow mode, navigate to the slides on the left of your screen, and then enter slideshow mode again to talk through your slides in detail. Try not to scroll through all of your slides because you will give your audience motion sickness. If you're using more than one monitor, make sure that the slides display in slideshow mode on your main monitor for the recording. Otherwise, like this, you'll show everyone the presenter screen and all of your slides and notes. If you have time, practice, and then practice some more, just like you would for an in-person conference. Now start by making a 1-minute recording of yourself so you know what it sounds and looks and feels like. Then practice your entire presentation. This will help you to feel familiar with the presentation, the audio levels, and the camera settings. A few final comments. Be professional and have professional etiquette. Super common for conferences to run late, and online conferences seem to run late more than others. Everyone will really appreciate and remember you if you start on time and finish on time. Second, make mistakes, handle them professionally, and move on. Super common for people to make mistakes. Don't make a big deal of it, just move on. And if you're pre-recording, you don't need to re-record every time you make a little mistake. This isn't the 3-minute thesis competition. You've got the time. Sure, if you make a big boo-boo, stop the record, start again. But your audience will appreciate it if you just make a mistake, handle it, and move on. 3, focus on communicating naturally. You don't need to be right up against the microphone and looking into the camera, but you don't need to slouch either. Find that happy middle ground where you're sitting up straight, but you're comfortable. And it's really going to help your audience to connect with you while you're presenting. 4, dress appropriately. Online conferences don't tend to have a dress guide, but the general recommendation seems to be to dress in sort of business casual or business professional. So for most people, that means a shirt with a collar. Now I'm working from home in lockdown, so I've decided to focus more on the comfortable part, but you figure out what works for your conference. Your conference might even mean pajamas. 5, focus your time and attention. It is really easy to get distracted and start checking your emails during a presentation, or start thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. But just as you would in an in-person conference, schedule that time out and do focus just on the conference. 6, you can pre-prepare your question and answer time. So think about what questions you think the audience might ask you and what questions you asked yourself while you were doing the research. And pre-write some of your answers to those questions. This is the huge advantage in an online conference, is that you can have the information just up on the screen in the background or on your other monitor. You can also have your original research open, so like your thesis, for example, and then you can refer back to it if you need to during the question and answer time and give specific detail. Don't be afraid to include your contact details. Some people might not be able to or may feel unable to ask questions in an online format. You can whack your Twitter handle up on the first and last slide and your other contact details on the last slide too. At the conference where I presented online just recently, as the presentations were going to be recorded and then put up on YouTube afterwards, it was decided that attendees should email the organizers if they wanted to contact the presenters, and then their messages would be passed on, rather than share the contact details of the presenters publicly. Check what the details are for your conference and think about what you'd be comfortable with. That's the end. Any questions, anything I didn't cover, or anything that you would like to add, drop it down below in the comments.